Good morning, everyone who's joined already. Diane, Liz, Chelsea, Debbie, and Marcy. We're going to be taking off from this point. I think I'm one of the first street art tours for Street Art Week. I think the first one was in New Zealand about an hour ago. And we're in the suburb of Chippendale, but I'll tell you more about that when we actually start. While I'm walking past, I'll just show you the building we're walking past here as well, which is the old mortuary station. So basically, this was built in the mid-19th century, around about 1864, I think it was. And its purpose was the starting point for the mortuary train. I'm pretty happy with the way that the gimbal is responding today. I've been having some problems with that, but this is looking good so far. So yes, this is the mortuary station, and the funeral trains would start from here, be loaded up, then they would travel out to the main cemetery in Sydney, which was out at Rookwood. Rookwood Station is still, Rookwood Cemetery rather, is still used today, and I think it's the largest cemetery in the Southern Hemisphere. So let's have a little walk. I know this is a busy road. I'm going to get off this road shortly. Again, I'm just testing the signal and testing the way the gimbal's working for me this morning. I've had an annoying twitch happening, but I think I might have resolved it, which is excellent news. All right, it's all looking good. So I'm going to cross the road and get ready to get in place at our starting point. Good morning, Tariq. So just before we cross the road again, I'll see if I can get closer to those birds. I was explaining, Tariq, to the other people who were on that tour just before you, that up on that second top balcony in the middle there, there's about a dozen rainbow lorikeets, and they must be feeding them from their balcony. They were making a hell of a noise. Oh, it looks like I've missed the lights. So it's Monday morning here in Sydney, just coming up to 8:30 in the morning. That building up ahead of us with all the greenery on the side of the building is called Central Park Plaza, and it has a fairly spectacular front wall facing north, which is a vertical garden, and its purpose is to moderate the temperature. All right, so we're walking across the road here in the suburb of Chippendale. This is Regent Street, very busy main road. This guy's flying up. I'm like wondering if he was going to stop for me. And we have one of the old pubs in Chippendale. It's currently undergoing renovations. So this is the Castle Connell Hotel, and it was only renovated about 4 years ago, but it seems to be undergoing another renovation. One of the beautiful old Art Deco era pubs, well, in its current form. It says the first one was built here in 1877. Hi, Mark. Hi, Maud. All right, we're about 3 minutes from kick-off time. It's a very narrow laneway, and there's little cars and trucks trying to get down here. And here's another perspective of the mortuary station, which was built under the guidance of the colonial architect at the time, James Barnett. It's built in sandstone in the Gothic Renaissance style. And although it's been adorned with angels and cherubs and gargoyles, looking very churchy, it never actually hosted a service of any kind, a religious service of any kind. Good morning, SK. So we're 2 minutes from kickoff, and what I think I might do is actually head up towards the first street up piece rather than starting from down here, because it's Monday morning, it's very noisy. Good morning, Carol. Regent Street is one of the main thoroughfares that travels between the city of Sydney and the Sydney airport. So it's a fairly heavily trafficked area. So the first mural on our tour is always a bit of a mystery. You're never really sure if it's changed or not, because it does actually change quite regularly. And this one isn't on our tour, but since the gates open, we get a little bit of an extra added bonus. I know nothing about this apart from the fact that it looks like it's a cafe, maybe. There's outdoor tables there, and the mural that takes up the length of the building. But as I said, I don't know anything about this one. It's not included on the tour. That's just a little added bonus. Hi, Karen. Hi, Anne. California, welcome. So this is the Lord Gladstone Hotel, and our first mural is on the back wall of the Lord Gladstone. Lord Gladstone is a music venue. They have live music on a Sunday afternoon. And I see that we've just ticked over 8:30, so let me turn around and introduce myself. For those who don't know me, my name's Lynn, and we're meeting this morning in Sydney, in the suburb of Chippendale. And before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we meet today on the traditional lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Alrighty, so it's March, of course, which in Australia is autumn. And our calendars follow the first day of the month, unlike some of the Northern Hemisphere countries, which tend to go by the solstice dates, the 21st and 22nd. So we've been well into autumn for almost a month now. Okay, so let's turn around and start this tour. All right, so we're coming upon the first of the murals, which is which has had some additional messages added to it since the last time I was here. This is literally an exact replica of a text message from one of our politicians to a woman who has made allegations of being raped in our Parliament House. So Barnaby is our Deputy Prime Minister. Scott is our Prime Minister. And BH is Brittany Higgins, the woman who made allegations about a sexual assault in our Parliament House in Canberra. So this was rather a shocking text message that was made public by some unknown third party. Scotty Marsh is the artist who placed this piece here. I have no idea what the extra pink adornment's about, but obviously it's something to do with validation of some sort. So as I said, this is on the back wall of the Lord Gladstone Hotel, and inside their big garden you have more artworks and pieces. This one up the top here, thanks to Tariq, I now know is the gang rapper Biggie Smalls, who was murdered, was it about 20 years ago? And the one that you can't really see underneath that awning is by a well-known Sydney street artist by the name of Fintan McGee. So unfortunately we can't get inside the pub to see those in more detail, but that's the Chippendale street art. Thanks, Tariq. Yes, I did look that up, and it was Tupac, I think, was the other person involved in a bit of a tit-for-tat rap gang series of incidents. All right, so we're walking along Mars Street in Chippendale. Chippendale is a very small suburb, just 2 kilometres from the centre of Sydney. Hi to everyone who's just joined. Turquoise, I'm never sure if I pronounced that correctly. And Maya. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Who else have we got that I missed? Quite a few of you joined while I was rabbiting on, didn't you? Morning, Anne and Helen, Jenny, and is it Tag? Mindy, Tiante, the Voyager formerly known as T. Welcome. Dorota, Gabby, Isabel, and I think I already mentioned Turquoise and Maya. Welcome all to Chippendale in Sydney. So Chippendale is, as I said, it's a very small suburb, formerly very working class. It was largely occupied by a very large brewery, which has since been demolished, and lots of apartment buildings have replaced it. The population stands at around 9,000 in Chippendale. Good question, Maya. No, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know why it's called Chippendale. Now it's mainly creatives around this area and education. So here's a very small gallery, which is a community artist cooperative gallery. And this window is dedicated to the artist John Ogburn. I'll show you the other side as well. There's usually some community pieces here. The window with the reflection is making it difficult to see, but that looks like a vase of flowers. All right, so there's one of the galleries. We also have lots of ad agencies, clothing designers, and there are 5 universities with either campuses in the area or close by. So there's a very large student population in Chippendale. In the last census, more than a quarter of the residents was established were born in China. Hi Norman, hi Tien. Okay, so the next piece that we're going to see does come with a content warning. So for anyone who is offended by obscene language, I will warn you when I'm about to show you the phrases that that I'm referring to, and give you time to either look away or at least be warned that they are coming up. So what I'll do is I'll give you some background to this piece before I show it to you, and the reason why it says what it does. William Chippendale. Thank you, Tariq. I figured it was named after a person, but I couldn't possibly hazard a guess as to who it was. Okay, so before I'm going to have to do this way so I don't inadvertently show you the piece I'm trying to be very careful about. So we'll go around this way. There are two pieces that are situated side by side. The first one is called Blue Valentine, and it was painted by the artist who goes by the name of Blends. It's difficult to get this one straight on because it's got a telegraph pole right in front of it. So what had occurred to me this morning is if a writer can go by a pen name, does an artist go by a brush name? In which case, this person's brush name is Blends. See if I can get right in front of it. It is tricky, but we can at least see Blue Valentine's face up close. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go back across the road so I can do my visual cropping. There's a car coming. I just need to be careful. All right, so the next piece is again by Scotty Marsh. Scotty Marsh is a local of the area. He is also a contender for the Archibald Prize, which is a prize that's given each year in the portraiture field of art by the New South Wales State Art Gallery. His subject in this case is a person by the name of Danny Lim, who was a politician, as in he ran successfully for a seat on council. He also contended for state and federal seats. When he no longer was, when he'd left politics, he took up protesting in the form of walking around the city with sandwich boards with various messages. Hi Brenda, hi Cynthia. So this one got him into a spot of bother, and he was actually arrested. This is handy. There's a truck in front of it at the moment, so I can use it to I can use the truck to be my visual sensor. So that's Danny Lynn. And when the truck moves out of the way, I will move the camera down to the offending phrase for which he was arrested. All right. So I'm about to pan down. So if anyone doesn't want to see this, look away now. So Danny Lim was arrested and prosecuted in the courts for offensive language. And it was thrown out of court and his fines were reversed. The judge said that it wasn't reasonable to assume that it would be offensive to everybody. And this is the depiction of that incident. All right, so I'm moving away from this piece now. Okay, so for those who did stay and look at that piece, do you find it offensive? Do you think it's reasonable expression of a protest? No, I don't either, Debbie. I don't think it's offensive. In fact, it's not being censored from our public media any longer either at certain times of day. So before we cross the road, this is the Chippendale Hotel, and this is a great example of how Australians abbreviate everything. So we have the Hotel is the Chippendale Hotel is the Chippo Hotel. If we have a look at what they actually have on offer on the boards, we've got Monday is $15 schnitties. So I imagine you all know that that's a schnitzel. On Tuesday, we have Fresh AF Comedy. I'll let you figure that one out for yourself. And on Thursday, they do $15 palmies. So a palmy is a parmigiana, usually chicken. And if you're going to come out to Australia, you would quickly encounter all the ways that Australians do abbreviate our language. Yeah, Tariq, the point is that was the word that was used on the sandwich board, and that's what he was being arrested for. And he was basically describing our Prime Minister at the time in those terms for the actions that Tony Abbott was taking and the decisions that were being made and the way that he was depicting our country. So many people felt that he was justified in the language that he used. This is the front of a bar and pizza joint with the state flower, the Waratah, in the bottom right-hand corner. The bar's called the Sneaky Possum. And on the side wall is the biggest painting that we'll see today. What I'm going to do is show you in horizontal mode firstly before I switch to vertical. So let's just try and get that street sign out of the way if we can. Here you get to see her beautiful, looks like a ruby to me. Maybe it's a garnet. Her beautiful ring. All right, now I'm going to count to 3 before I do a sideways shot. 1, 2, 3. And this is a portrait of a woman by the name of Naomi Myers, who was one of the original Sapphires. If you've seen the movie The Sapphires, that was an all-girl group of Indigenous singers who entertained the forces in Vietnam. She has also, I think she still is, our longest-running female CEO of an organisation in Australia. And I'm just going to pan to the left side slightly because I accidentally missed it last time. So the full mural depicts her shadow or her reflection behind her. Well, let's go back to horizontal. 1, 2, 3. And we'll pan up so that you can see the top of that particular painting. So that's Naomi Myers, and the artist is Fintan McGee. Let me know as I go if you want any of the artist's Instagram handles, and I will get them for you. I've got them written down on notes in my bag, so I can get them for you. So alongside Naomi is this sort of it looks like decorative text to me. I'm not sure exactly what this is. But if you can make out what it says and you can help me out, that'd be great. I haven't been able to find out any information on this particular piece. But the artist's name is over here in the bottom left corner. Looks like Jimmy Bliggs. Not sure. All right, so we've got another Scotty Marsh alongside that one. And this one is his ubiquitous bin chickens, the ibis. So this is an urban wildlife success story. The ibis traditionally from the north of Australia, from wetlands areas, and they have successfully urbanised to the point that we see them everywhere in Sydney. I'm going to go vertical again so that you can actually see the top of this painting. So there they are in their now natural habitat, foraging in the bins. Right, there's a car coming. Okay. Well, we'll go back to normal now. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And I just love the way the garbage bins have been depicted in this. Garbage bags, rather. And the Nike Air. Oh, did you see one, Debbie? I guess I'm so used to seeing them and I didn't even notice him. Or maybe I was focusing too much on... Excellent. Maybe I was focusing too much on other things and didn't notice it. All right, so we're coming up to the piece that was in the description for this tour. And unfortunately, they put their bins out in front of it all the time, which is a real shame. So I can't actually show you the artist names, but I will get them for you if you need them at the end of the tour. All right, so this one was painted for a book launch. The main artist goes by the name of Adnate, Adnate, and it's a collaboration with another artist who I assume did the colourful stripes. There's no indication anywhere that I can find that this person actually exists or whether she is just from the artist's mind, imagination. But she's just beautiful. I want to show you her eyes. She's just gorgeous, isn't she? And if we get up really close, you can just see the detail. Okay, our signal's still holding and my gimbal's behaving. I'm very happy virtual tour guide this morning. All right, has everyone had enough time with this gorgeous lady? We'll keep moving. Okay, so that was Teg's Lane in Chippendale, and now we are... Do you know what? I don't know the name of this street. I just realised. I walk up and down it all the time and I don't know the name of it. I'm going to cross the road here and show you this furniture store. This probably illustrates more than anything the change that this suburb has undergone from a very working class area to this type. They've got price tags on them, I think. Oh no, they don't. They're just numbers. I was going to say, I'd be surprised to see a price tag. I can't imagine that chair being very comfortable. I mean, it's a beautiful art piece, but I can't imagine sitting in it. The red one, on the other hand, I really like. And I think if I got into that black one there, I'd never get out of it. I would need help. Okay, so we're going to go past a gallery down here and then on to Central Park, where there's street art of a different form, in the form of a sculpture. The gallery here on my right is called the White Rabbit Gallery, and they often have changing exhibitions. Balfour Street, here we are, we're in Balfour Street. It's free to enter and view the gallery. And then alongside it they have a tea shop, which you can't really see into because of the reflections, but can we see? Yeah, all those bird cages up on the ceiling. It's very cute. And I love what they've done here with the stormwater runoff. It's a really creative way to deal with the water in heavy rain. This is a gorgeous little cafe. Run by a Korean couple. So you get your karaji chicken, beautiful desserts, cakes. Just crossing the road. And up ahead of us is the Central Park Mall, Central Park Plaza. Chippendale, as a suburb, has the smallest amount of open space of any suburb per resident. So less than a square metre of open space. So this park is really important to the local community. And anyone who has been on my shipwrecks tour in Homebush Bay might remember I pointed out an unusual building and said that it was only one of only two in Sydney. This is the second one. So that structure that protrudes from the side has an array of mirrors mounted on it that track with the sun and cast light onto the surrounding area so that the area is not in perpetual shade. So we've got all the gardens, and I'll take you around to see the front of the building as well with the vertical gardens. But that heliostat is called. It's one of only two in the world on a residential building. But they're both in Sydney, and now you've seen both of them. The sound of running water is an interesting contrast to the jackhammers I'm hearing on the left-hand side. And then if we look up here, I can hear the rainbow lorikeets going nuts up there. So someone is feeding them up there as well. You can see the tree on the top of that building. And as far as I know, this is just a sculpture. It performs no function at all. It looks like it should do something, but it's literally just a sculpture. Okay, so we're going to go and see a sculpture by a couple that go by the name of Gilly and Mark. Their signature pieces usually contain a rabbit and a dog. So if you actually look up Gilly and Mark, that's Gillie and Mark with C, M-A-R-C. You'll see lots of paintings that feature a rabbit and a dog. But this piece is called Tower of Love, and it depicts a panda and a pear, two rhinos. It's very unusual. I will go vertical for you to see it in full. A camera and a hippo. So just before I turn the camera around, I'll show you the plaque. All right, so if anyone's interested in information about Gillian Mark, let's go vertical so you can see the whole tower in one piece. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Tower of Love. Okay, and now we'll go back to normal. And I'm going to take you a different way, I think. No, actually, I still will go the other way. I was going to take you on the main road, but it's very noisy over there, just so you can see the front of that building. We'll see it from this side. I'm going to do a looking up shot at Central Park Mall. It's interesting angles and foliage up here. And then back down again. So the next stop on our tour, after we see the vertical gardens, is a foodie precinct. Up ahead is what remains of the old brewery and pub. It's been converted into a fairly swish hotel. So if I go up here, we'll have a look at the front of the building. That's the original entrance to the working brewery. So it's where the trucks would have come in and left with supplies to make the beer. And we get to see some of the old beer posters. At this point, it's kind of difficult to see. So there's one of the lower vertical gardens over there. And then I'm not sure if I can do this very well. We'll try looking straight up. So you can see I don't know if you get the idea of the vertical gardens from that, but I was almost standing in front of a bus, so I wasn't going to stay there too long. Okay, So from here we're looking at Central Station. That clock tower over there is Sydney Central Station. And this is the remaining old pub attached to the brewery. So we're entering Kensington Lane, which has been turned into a pedestrian area. And running off Kensington Lane is a little dining precinct called Spice Alley. And the gate's open, so that's great. So this is at the entrance of Spice Alley. It's kind of hard to get this whole thing in one shot, but you can see that we've got a big bowl of prawn laksa. And I'll just pan slowly up. There's no way I can get this all in one shot. And next to the prawn laksa, we've got two young women enjoying their lunch. I'm leaning back as far as I can. That's the best I can do. And beside them, we have the chef. Yes, this was commissioned for Spice Alley, and I believe it's another Scotty Marsh. Fairly sure. Can't see his signature on this one. Okay, so I'm jammed up against the window here. And if we move up, you can actually see the lanterns as well. All right, we'll move on because there's about 3 or 4 pieces in Spice Alley that are really, really worth seeing. And try and give you an idea of the feel. I absolutely recommend coming here. If you come to Sydney, at least once, you've got to come here, and you'll be spoilt for choice between Indian, Singaporean, Malaysian, Vietnamese, Japanese, Korean. There's everything on offer. Who does that look like? That looks a bit like Sophia Loren to me. Maybe it's an Indian actress. I'm not really sure who that is. They're almost like, what do you call it? Proletariat propaganda posters or something, aren't they, those ones? Love this. So you can see here some prices if you come for a char kway teow or nasi goreng. I believe so, Marcy. Yep, I believe it's all spray painted or hand painted. This is an interesting angle here. We've got the fairy lights above us, modern building behind that. And immediately in front of it, these are the old worker cottages. So let's go and have a look at so that says obey. I'm not sure what that's about. Thank you, Marcy. This is rather gorgeous. Have a look here. I'll try and get some different angles of this one. So we've got this here. It says hotel. Hard to see between the lanterns. Hard to get it all in. There we go. Hotel. And then over on the side here, you've got your... Yeah, she's not taking nonsense from anybody, is she, this one? Looking up this little alley here, which we can't go down with the gimbal because it's just so narrow. It would be impossible to get it all. But I'll try and get you as much as I'm able. Here we go. But the real stars of the show are in the next little alcove. So let's go and see them. As you can imagine, this is popular with the tourists. We're almost across the road from the University of Technology, Sydney. And so at lunchtime, this is absolutely heaving with students. All right, these ladies are my favourite. Let's get into a good spot over here. Try and minimise the number of tables in view. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, you must be able to get a good postcard out of that one. And then beside our beautiful Japanese ladies, we have some manga for contrast. Alrighty. Ooh, just nearly head-butted a big bonsai plant. Here we go. Here's some Japanese food. We'll go out this way. I'll have one last mural to show you. This is really interesting. I have no idea anything. I have no information about this building at all, except that it's very odd. It's a modern building and it has this wooden thing attached to it. And I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But there you go. That's an oddity. This is an oddity in Kensington Lane. Thank you, Carol. Okay, so we're going to go back this way. We head towards the final piece, probably, arguably, the most controversial on the tour. And I'll try and get into a good position to let you take a postcard of the tuk-tuk. This is basically just marketing for Spice Alley. There we go. Little tuk-tuk. So basically our tour finishes at the same place that we began, which is in front of that old hotel that's been renovated. You You might be getting a bit of wind noise at the moment. I noticed the wind's just picked up, so we'll be in a sheltered spot in a moment. Traffic on my right. So as we walk towards this last piece, I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's another Scotty Marsh. So as you can already see, he dominates the area with the paintings around this area. And it depicts one of our controversial media mouthpieces by the name of Alan Jones. Alan Jones has a very big audience, so he has a lot of power. And he's been known to make some very savage comments towards people if he's taken an exception to them for whatever reason. And one of those people on one occasion was the Prime Minister of New Zealand, who, during a visit to the small island nation of Tuvalu, which is threatened by rising sea levels, she referred to the fact that Australia could be doing more in the fight against climate change. Alan Jones's response was to suggest that our Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, who's already been mentioned once on this tour, should shove a sock down her throat. So Scotty Marsh's response was to produce this mural. The reason it has a content warning is that it depicts Alan Jones with a mouth gag head harness. All right, so it's obviously something that's used in the sex industry. So if you prefer not to see this, I'm about to pan across to it now. So as I said, warning, if you don't want to see this image, look away now. This is Alan Jones and Scotty Marsh's response to Alan Jones' comment. Pity there's a van parked in front of it at the moment. All right, so unfortunately you don't get a great postcard of that one, but it's street art. There's not much you can do about traffic and parked cars. So I'm moved away from Alan Jones now. Alongside Alan Jones is this piece by, so that's the same artist that I couldn't identify his name before, Jimmy Bliggs, looks like Bligs, and John Kay. All right, everyone. So thanks, Carol. That concludes my tour. I hope it wasn't too, just getting him in shot again. I hope no one was offended by any of the content. Thank you all for joining me. I was just getting out of someone's way who was walking past me. Thanks all for joining me on this tour. This is the last time I'm able to offer this particular tour because we're moving to the Blue Mountains. So keep an eye out for new content as I research, test, signal, and do all the good things that I need to do. Thank you, Helen. And thanks, Karen. If you haven't been on one of my tours before and you'd like to stay across what I'm doing, please follow my channel up over there. There's a button. Thank you, Debbie. And tomorrow I'll be in Newtown doing a street art tour in Newtown. So these are my last tours for Sydney. Please join me. I'd love to see you all again. And if you think that I've deserved it, I'd love a coffee after this. All right. Thanks, everyone.